All right, so let's get started. Thank you guys so much for coming to our first ever panel for Stela, which is comics for your phone, digital comics for your phone. The name of the panel is Fundamentally Digital. I think that's what I submitted.
Emphasis on fun.
Fun, yes, all the time. So let's get things started. I'm going to introduce our panelists. We have Jim Gibbons, our senior editor. Hey, everybody. Next to him, we've got Roxy Polk, associate editor. All the way at the end, we have Jason McNamara, who is a writer for Stela. And then next to Jason, we have Tanika Stotts, who is an artist for Stela. So, what is Stela? Do any of you guys know what Stela is in advance? No? Well, then we appreciate it even more that you came to this
This
panel.
is the place to be.
This is the place to be.
You're
for
right
that. Thank you, Jim.
No problem, Steve.
I appreciate it.
Steve,
Yeah,
no problem.
Jim, thank you. All right. So we've got a short video here that we can show you that will give you a little bit better idea of what Stela is. After that video, that will make a little bit of sense since we haven't really told you anything about the platform yet. But that said, Stela is a brand new digital comics app. It's a digital comics app and publisher. And the best part about it is that, Jim, why don't you talk a little bit about how Stela works in terms of the reading experience, because it is really special.
Sure.
What we're doing.
Yeah, what makes Stela different than many other forms of comics reading or digital comics reading? On one level is its ease of accessibility. Go straight to the App Store, you download the app for free, you can check out all the first chapters of our comics for free and check it out. And so there's not the potential confusion of going to a much larger store or needing to figure out where you start on a series that has 200 issues. You go there and it's all ready made for you. We beam them straight to you on a daily basis. So new comics just flying into your pockets. And then the other thing about it is all of our comics are created to specifically be read on the iPhone. So they're all vertical scrolling comics. So we're not trying to take a full comics page and wedge it down onto a phone screen. We're creating the panels to be the size of your phone screen. So it's a very organic reading experience. It's kind of like scrolling through Twitter or Tumblr or any other sort of scrolling service on your phone that you're already used to. You can just use that to read comics.
How many of you guys read digital comics on your iPads and phones already? Pretty much everybody here. That's good. So what's great about Stela is that you read comics on our platform the same way you would read stuff like Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter. Any of the stuff where you scroll down, that's how you read a Stela comic. And we're going to give some of you guys a chance to take a look at the app later on in the panel. So you can come on up here and we'll throw it up on the screen, and it'll be really, really fun, just like when I played that movie. Jason and Tanika, you guys are creators working for Stela. Starting with Jason, what's it like writing for this format, knowing that you don't necessarily have the page turn, knowing that it's sort of a different format than you would have for a traditional 22-page flip comic?
It's fantastic. First of all, I read a lot of digital comics. Reading comics on your phone is so frustrating because it's an afterthought for that format. Those comics weren't made to be put on the phone, right? It's a cash grab for another 5–10%. Unless, who brings their iPad to the bank, right?
Does anybody here bring their iPad to the bank?
No. So, usually you always have your phone on you, and I want to read comics on my phone, and I always give up because I'm like, I can't do this to comic books that I love. I want to throw the phone against the wall. So, just from a platform experience, I love it, right? It's an ancient way of telling stories, right? Driving me crazy because the Byzantine Empire, the ancient Egyptians, they gave each other scrolls and told visual stories that way. So it's looking backwards and it's looking forward.
Which is what the name Stela is derived from for our format. To bring it all together, history lesson, and then the modern relevance.
Because that's what you want from your comics, and that's what
I'm going to shove the mic. That's everything I know about history, and I saw it on Wikipedia like an hour ago. But as for writing, it's awesome, because when you write for the script, I'm writing indie comics for 10 years. You guys have never heard of me, that's okay. But you have to frame everything around a page turn, how many panels a page, how many beats of emotion you can put on a page, right? Everything has to be 22 pages, 8 pages. With Stela, if I come in a little hot, a little long, that's okay. If I come in a little short, that's what the story needed to dictate. I don't have to pad it with anything. I don't have to worry about. You'll see this a lot on even odd page turn. If you want a big reveal, you put it on the left side of the spread. So then a lot of times you'll see a buffer or just filler material on the right-hand side of the page. We don't have to do that anymore. We can tell you the story we want to tell. So that is really freeing. I love that. I also love that you can show a guy falling down the side of a mountain and just scroll and go with it. You can have an uninterrupted panel that will be equal to 8 pages of regular content. You don't have to worry about the page turn. It's freeing. You don't have to worry about that. And in a way, it's hard to break myself of these habits. I was still putting pages in the scripts, and I'm like, no, they're just panels, they're just screens. It's great.
Yeah, it's one of those, I think, jumping off that, every panel in this format has the potential to be a reveal. It's not like when you open the spread of a comic book, your eyes kind of naturally take parts of it all in. So if something happens in that far right-hand corner, you have to start reading up in that far left-hand corner, you've already seen it. Whereas with us, as you scroll from one panel to the next, anything can be a surprise. So, and it's for, I think, the creators, it's definitely a way where you can play with pacing, and you can play with surprises and all that.
How many of you guys, because you all read digital comics, how many of you guys get frustrated reading traditional comics on your phone? Yeah, it can be a really frustrating experience. It's like I mean, we're all comics fans up here on the panel. We've seen what digital can do. We've seen the limitations of it, and it's one of the reasons why all of us are so excited to be a part of Stela and part of what they're doing. Tanika, this is certainly from a writing perspective, it's different, but from a visual perspective, it's got to be very different in terms of how you design spreads, how it is that you do layouts and stuff like that. What's different for you in this format versus traditional comics?
Well, in this one I can do what I really, really love, because I took theater and I took film classes, so I can do a lot of seamless transitions, which is taking one panel and just having it fall into the next, using color and perspective to kind of pull it out and just make everything really pop. It's kind of like moving a camera frame from angle to angle. So for me, it's best to just display full layouts of my world, even though I'm going in a vertical direction, but I can still just kind of bring that alive with my artist, and it's been a lot of fun.
And I think we're all having a lot of fun working on this new format. It's certainly different. It's sort of blazing new territory. I think, Jim, we were talking about this earlier, that a lot of what you were doing at Dark Horse, the skills carry over, but it is certainly a whole new way of thinking about comics.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's any medium in which you're telling stories has its pros and cons, and has things you need to figure out along the way. And Stela's been a blast, and I'll kick this over to you guys as well, because I know that I've had a lot of fun just trying to, it's those restrictions of a new format sometimes force a creativity that people, I think, get a little comfortable with traditional comics. We've been writing it for a long time, and moving into the Stela format has been a lot of fun to see people play around with that.
Yeah, I do a lot of double formatting. I do my Stela formatting, and then I do my graphic novel formatting. So being able to take those two examples of seeing my panels and how they're laid out and how they'll look in the book, but then seeing them and how I can play with them more and have more fun with them, that's definitely my favorite part so far.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to take advantage of in this format. I think so many creators are approaching it differently. It's kind of fun to see like more traditional panel by panel, and then just this sort of stream of art that's flowing, that's telling its own story. I think there's a lot of potential.
So we've got, while you can't get Stela right now, we are happy to let you know today that it will be available this Thursday on the App Store. It is a completely free download. You don't have to worry about incurring any charges or anything like that. The download's completely free, and every first chapter of our series will be free to read. So that's going to be our edict moving forward. That's our model moving forward, and if you want to access more content, second chapters, third chapters, that sort of thing, it's a monthly subscription of $4.99, which is less than you would pay for 2 monthly comics.
Or for Starbucks.
Or for Starbucks. For the price of a cup of coffee, you
While
too can support a fledgling digital publisher.
If you're thinking of going to Starbucks, get Stela instead.
Yeah, while you're waiting in line at Starbucks.
And you're bored, and they're about to write your name wrong on your drink.
Get on that free Wi-Fi, download the app,
Yeah.
start reading. And then you get a few comics in before you can get your latte. Perfect.
So I want to share with you guys some of the launch titles we have. These are 4 of our launch titles: Rome West, Out with a Bang, Teach, and The Inheritance. Jim, tell us a little bit about our launch line. Tell us a little bit about the diversity of story that we have up here.
Well, so we've got Rome West, which is kind of like alternative history. Inheritance is fantasy. Out with a Bang is kind of a superhero story, and then Teach is a little bit more of a straight crime story.
Yes.
Steve, do you know something?
That's true.
And so that's where we're starting, and you'll see. And so one of the things I don't think Steve's touched on yet is the way that we'll deliver comics will be a new chapter daily, 5 days a week. So there'll be a Monday series, a Tuesday series, Wednesday series, and so forth. And so each week, each day, you're getting new content, and so we'll have these 4 launch titles and some previews of upcoming series. And one of the things you'll see across them is no 2 comics are going to be alike. We've got fantasy, we've got science fiction, we've got superheroes, we've got romance, slice of life, all sorts of stuff. So it's going to, we're casting a wide net in our content in the hopes that people come in maybe for one thing and like it, they try something else out and they end up loving that. But diversity is a good thing within the realm of comics, so that's what we're pushing.
Right, and these are only the titles that are going to be ongoing series to start with. As we continue with Stela, we'll have a lot more stories to tell and a lot more pieces of content. I think, Jim, you mentioned that a while back that we have about 50 series in the pipeline. Is that correct?
Yes, I think that's about it. So
that's
a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do for our editorial staff here. So those are our launch titles, and then we've also got special preview titles, which are the first chapters of upcoming series. These are 3 of the series we've got going on. It's Chaos Arena, Crystal Fighters, The Dark Divide, and Gratinin. And then we've got Call of Cthulhu, 442nd, and IPP, Intellectual Property Police. So if we go back here, so Jim, we a little bit of diversity discussion already, but these are certainly even more towards the diverse content that you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I think just comparing the art of all of them, you can already see that there's definitely, we're not trying to do any 2 things alike. So I mean, like Chaos Arena Crystal Fighters is by Jen Bartel and Tyler Bartel, and it's a magical girl underground fight club comic that takes place in a virtual reality video game. And so that comic, very, very big, and it's a lot of fun and it's good action. But The Dark Divide, it's written by Hayden Blackman, who's done a lot of Star Wars comics and Marvel work.
And I believe Hayden also partnered with J.H. Williams to do Batwoman.
That's correct. Also Batwoman. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
But that story, as a separate example, it's kind of like a bit of a alternate reality. Mondo Macabre is this circus where all this kind of these magical beings are, and there's these old gods, and it's about a young girl who works around the circus and then has to figure out, her dad is not a great guy, and there's all sorts of stuff like that. But it's a little bit more of a moody fantasy tale. And then Grattan on the end there is Ron Wimberly, just doing what Ron Wimberly does best, which is make really awesome comics. And Grattan stands for Gratuitous Ninja, and so there's a lot of gratuitous ninjutsu in it.
Well said, Jim. Well said. And then these are our other 3. Call of Cthulhu is a story by Evan Dorkin and Sarah Dyer. It's essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but it's something akin to Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Cthulhu.
Yes. Yeah. No. It is. It's a young woman who is related to many Lovecraftian beasts, and her uncle is the Yellow King, and he wants her to do some stuff that she's not too keen on. So she's kind of bucking against the family trend of suppressing humanity.
And then 442nd is a historical drama. It's based on a true story, right?
It is, yes. Of the 442nd Battalion in World War II.
And IPP, that's another one of your series, Jim, that Victor Santos is doing.
Yeah, IPP stands for Intellectual Property Police, and takes place in a future where a mega corporation owns all fiction, and the greatest criminals of the time are people doing unlicensed fiction, and the IPP tracks them down and kills them. And a little reveal in the first chapter, one of their agents discovers a comic book and finds she has a hard time destroying it because it's so freaking interesting.
especially
It's cool. It's like Barbarella meets Fahrenheit 451 with like a lot more guns and fighting and.
Sounds great. Yeah.
just what everybody was asking for. So at this time, who's interested in what they've heard so far? Everybody pretty interested in what they've heard?
That's all the hands in the room.
All the hands in the room. So 100% of people are interested in Stela. Jim, is your phone all set there connected to the internet?
It is.
Who wants to get a look at Stela right now? Right now. All right. So let's start
Can we
with
look at his
the young
color?
lady in the super House of L pressed jacket. Come on up.
Yeah, we're like,
So I do need this. Thank you, Jim. I'm going to plug in this cable here. So come on up. Actually, we're gonna point that piece here. What's going on over there? Yeah. So I'll walk it again, and then she'll sit here. And you can. Oh, okay. So come have a seat right next to Jim. Yeah. And we'll bring some other people up here too as well later in the panel as it goes on. So like we said, the idea is that you want to scroll, right? You want to scroll down, and it's very intuitive. How many of you guys use your phones for more than just calling people? I'd assume it's everybody in the room. Yeah, right. So we use our phones for everything. They're with us all the time. I use my phone when I am super bored, waiting in line somewhere, on the bus, in public transportation, and a lot of times I wish that I could read comics. And what we've been repeating up here is that it's such a good way to read comics. I mean, we're giving you these very easy to digest chapters every single weekday. So it's a chapter every weekday while you're waiting in line at the bank, waiting for friends to show up to dinner, on public transportation. Don't read Stela while you're driving though. Please, we don't encourage that. Please don't read Stela if you're the driver. But our panelists, when do you want to read comics that you might not be able to?
I'd like to read some right now.
You'd like to read some right now?
Yeah, I do. What also is exciting about Stela is you have a really great lineup of creators. Aside from like yahoos like us.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah, seriously, you guys are great creators.
I was like, tell me more.
I don't want to
We don't want to pay ourselves.
Yeah, I don't want to get fired, bro.
Yeah, seriously.
It should look.
Wait, you already finished. You got paid.
Yeah.
You're okay. You don't even mean a second series.
Why is it not working? Oh, this puts it down.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay. It worked, guys. It worked. Yeah. Woo! So I want to go over some things with you guys. You guys know comics. You know single issues of comics, right? They cost $3.99. And I'll defer to our creators here. Most of the time, they are 22 pages long. Correct.
Yes.
So for $3.99, you get 22 story pages. Sometimes even less.
Unless you get a special.
I get 22 pages every time.
22 pages. So you'll get 22 story pages about on average, and you get an issue every month. So that's 22 pages, $3.99 every month, and then you have to go back to a comic store or go back to Comixology and make sure you continue to buy it. You can subscribe also. That's something that you could do. But generally, this is the baseline of value today that you're going to get when you go to a comic store and you pick up a comic. Everybody here has experienced buying a $3.99 comic and how much it hurts when you're at the end of that issue in like 20 seconds and you just spent $4 that you could have spent somewhere else. It's not the best feeling, and we've all experienced it as the prices have gone up for comics.
Yes.
You look like you had something to say, Jim.
No, I was just enjoying your sales pitch. I agree. Sometimes some comics are very dense. Sometimes it takes you, 25 minutes to get through a 22-page issue, but sometimes people are filling the splash pages. You're flying through that thing.
Yeah.
You only get like 5 minutes of entertainment for your $4.99 or $3.99.
Plus, it's only one story, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're only
What's the deal with
only
that?
getting one story, and sometimes it's only a part of a story too. It's not even like the 22 pages won't even tell the full story. So really, you're having to spend $12, $14, $16 in order to get the full story. So that's a comic, and a decent value that some people like to do are comic book anthologies. Stuff like Dark Horse Presents, the Vertigo quarterlies that have been coming out. Those are really good examples of comic book anthologies. Those run from about $5.99 to $7.99. And with those, on the low end, you're getting about 56 story pages. On the high end, you're getting about 80. which once again is actually, it's decent value. If you can pay $6 for 56 pages, that's double what you would pay, that's under double what you would pay for a regular comic, and you're getting far more than double the story pages. But once again, it's only one issue every month, and it's only one issue every month, and or one issue every quarter. So really, you're not able to get that value that often on the high end, and even if it's on the lower end, it's still pretty expensive, and it's also usually only parts of stories that you're going to be able to get, right? Jim's going to come into the audience now and sort of pass the phone around, his phone. So be very careful with it. Please make a lot of international calls on Jim's phone.
You know what I equate it to? It's like the HBO Go or the Netflix model.
Right.
So you have access to a bunch of titles. And as Stela goes on, there's more and more titles. You can indulge in that binge mentality.
Exactly. See, with this, you only get what you pay for, right? It's only what's in the book, and that's all you get.
And I'll segue off of what Jason was saying for a second too. I mean, that's also one of the things. HBO Go is a good comparison because one of the things we're trying to provide as well is a curated line of comics. It's not, Comixology has a vast amount of options. You can go there, you can get tons of different comics, but thousands of different titles to choose from. It can be daunting to figure out where to start. We're going to bring comics that our editorial team work to make sure that they're the best they can absolutely be, and they're comics that we're really proud of and we think people are really going to enjoy. So it's a little bit more, it's less like the Netflix maybe, where it's got tons of options. You have your C movies with your blockbusters, and more like an HBO where every single comic's going to have a lot of effort put into it. It's going to be a real quality piece of work.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of original stuff that you have to and these are not going to get bundled into a book.
No.
We have a lot of fun creating our stories.
And on top of that, I think what this demonstrates, at least partially, is that you're not getting a ton of value month to month. I mean, if you're or month to month, week to week on buying print comics these days, and it's a shame because all of us here grew up with comics. We love the medium, we love the format, and most of us do continue to support it every week. But like I go every Wednesday and I spend the money, and it hurts, but I love the format, so I want to make sure it continues to survive. So when you look at that, and you look at the other major way that people read comics these days, which is trade paperback collections. Trade paperback collections are wonderful. That is an actual photo of one of my shelves at home. Like those are my trade paperbacks. So you're paying.
We didn't come here to brag about your book collection.
Are you sure?
I don't see my books.
I don't see mine.
I don't see our books.
They're on a different shelf.
Oh.
They're on a different shelf. I don't want you guys to get too much of an ego. You guys got to keep it humble. It's important. But generally for a trade paperback, the average price is about $19.99. And for that $19.99, you will be getting around 150 story pages, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. Image does $9.99 trade paperbacks for the first volume, but then they bump up that price to $14.99, $19.99.
The best bang for your buck so far.
So far,
that you have showcased.
yes. How many people tend to wait for the trade when they read comics, right? Because you get a full story. You don't have to deal with going to the comic shop every month and remember that you have to go there, that you have to spend the money. This is a much easier solution. So we've had the single issue comic, $3.99 for 22 story pages. We have the anthology comic, $5.99 for 56 story pages. And now we've got the trade paperback, $19.99 for 150 story pages.
Math.
I'm gonna throw one more slide at you, and it's gonna be the best looking slide of the bunch. It's Stela.
Whoa!
Stela, you pay $4.99 a month, and for that $4.99, not only do you get every single first chapter of every series we've ever done for free, without even paying the $4.99, but when you pay the $4.99, you're guaranteed 160 pages a month, which is more.
Brand new pages.
Brand new pages.
Brand new pages.
They are all like, and this is not just for the people that have seen the app already. We're not counting a page as just one of the panels that you scroll through. We have a formula where it's, I think, 4 of those pages equate a traditional comic book.
Yeah, a single iPhone screen is roughly a fourth piece of artboard, and so 4 screens is equivalent of a page. So each chapter is 32 screens or more.
Right. So it's a lot of content. So when we say 160 pages per month, we're not talking about a single screen. We're talking about 4 screens. And that's more than you would get for paying for a $19.99 trade paperback. You're getting new content every weekday. All the chapters are free. You'll get to see a lot of things that you like, and it will be unlimited access to original content that you're able to access pretty much at any time, right?
Yeah, and in case it is not clear, or we'll just reiterate again, it's all brand new content that you can only get on this app. So.
And Jim, who are some of the other creators that we're working with for this?
Oh man, I should have put notes on my phone. My phone's out there.
Brian Wood.
Brian Wood is one.
Brian Wood is writing World
Let's
West.
see, Michael Avon Homing, Ibrahim Mustafa, Christopher Sabella,
All Portland natives.
Sarah Duvall, who's drawing Tamika's comic.
Irene
Irene Coe. So yeah, you guys can just chime in if you know somebody, just tell me. Van Jensen, Dusty Higgins, Kevin Panetta, Brooke Allen, Tate Howard. Look at this. See?
Yeah. Everybody.
Even an
Word
audience member
gets out
knows.
fast.
But in addition to a lot of these new voices, we've also got people that have already made their mark on the comics industry. We've got Louise Simonson is doing the story for us with
Jan Dursman.
So we've got a lot of respect for the traditional comics genre, and we have a lot of respect for comics as a whole. We want to be able to see it grow into something more, and that's kind of the mission statement, I guess, behind Stela.
Absolutely, and I always go back to the word accessibility. I imagine, everyone here is here because they love comics or some nerd culture, right? You want to, you often have friends who know you're that person in your group. They know you're the comics fan or something like that, and so they'll be like, "Oh, what should I read? What do I get into?" And sometimes it's hard to explain to somebody how best you're like, well, you could go to Amazon and you could order something where you can find your local comic shop, or there's a barrier to entry. But this is hopefully going to be the easiest way to get your friends who aren't into comics, because you're just going to go, hey, your phone's in your pocket, just pull it out from the App Store, and you can start reading stuff right now that's pretty kick-ass.
Absolutely. So, continue to pass Jim's phone around by all means. Who has Jim's phone right now? Okay, good. We know where your phone is.
Enjoy.
You can relax.
Free
You
phone.
can relax. I'm gonna take care of some housekeeping things before I take questions. Who walked in after the presentation started? Raise your hands. Come up here and get a sticker. Because there's a drawing. There's a drawing.
You have to have
Yeah.
a sticker.
There's a number on the back, so pay attention to that.
So I put on my forehead?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what
Please
you
do. Then get it tattooed on your forehead.
All those stickers I took, I
You don't really be interested in my forehead.
Everyone can QR code your forehead and get
Yeah,
that right away.
no, I work at a mental hospital. My patients might really look at this.
Great.
They like my t-shirts when I bring them back to the con. I said, well, that's a really cool t-shirt.
Roxy, you are actually one of the newest additions to the Stela team. What appealed to you about the format and made you want to come out and work with us?
Well, it's all create your own stuff, so it's people telling their own stories the way they want to tell it. And like you guys were saying, there's a lot of diversity, so basically any story a creator wants to tell, they can pitch it to us and we'll be able to tell it. And also, it's just so organic the way you read it. Like, I've been reading comics on Tumblr and stuff for a really long time now, and so I'm used to that whole scrolling thing. So it's a super intuitive way to read it, and something that people are already used to. So it's like a no-brainer.
Any big Tumblr readers out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tumblr's great. So before I get any further, I should mention, please make sure to follow, if you're interested in Stela, please make sure to follow us on social media. We are at Read Stela on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook. That's at Read Stela, as in the thing that you do to Stela.
What, no ELO?
Sorry?
What, no ELO?
No ELO.
Oh.
No, not yet. Coming soon.
And on Periscope. Where are we on
And on Periscope, we're at
Stela.
Read Stela on Periscope. If you would like to watch this panel presentation get
If you had
simulcast.
that much fun.
If you've had that much fun, and want to see it
over
twice.
and over and over again.
Yeah.
Send it to your friends,
Uh,
family.
So once Jim's phone is all set, we'll put it up on the big screen for all you guys to see, so that Jim can
Oh, cool, sure.
Yeah. So let's
Should
go
we take
back to
questions?
we can
Should we take
take.
questions?
Does anybody have questions? Oh, there were questions. Wonderful.
He was not expecting
I was
that.
not expecting that. Never happens at panels. We'll start to the right and go left.
So I was just checking out the user interface, and I think, there's a richness in the RGB for sure, and I really like that whole element, but I am curious if you guys see yourself changing it so dimensionally speaking, depending on the size of your phone and everything, can you zoom in to read if you're having trouble picking up word balloons or anything like
Yeah,
that?
so initially, I mean, part of it, because we're making everything specifically for the phone screen, as far as lettering goes, we're obviously making sure that everything's legible on a phone screen first and foremost. But initially, what we're gonna start with, and ideally stay this way, is keeping it as simple and accessible as possible, and which in many regards is like, let's keep that reading experience straightforward. It's just scrolling, no pinching, zooming, no swiping this way or that, no bells and whistles. You know, we're going to have it as a pretty pure sequential storytelling method.
Yeah, we basically want it to be guided view without guided view. You know, I have a lot of respect for what Comixology does and how they pioneered the sort of, when you're on your phone, you can double tap to see how the story's going to go, but you lose a lot in that. Your eye isn't necessarily guided to where the artist intended. It's an adaptation. For this, we want your eyes to be guided by your eyes. And the best way to do that is just to make sure it's pure comics, to make sure that when you scroll down, your eyes are drawn to whatever it is that it's drawn to when you scroll down.
And I think that's a good way to put it in a sense, you know, like we're doing comics on your phone and that's the way in which they were intended. So things like the size of word balloons and the way colors work and everything like that, we're approaching it as this is the main format they're going to be in. So from script to finished product, how it's going to look on the phone screen is our main concern.
Or even how you hold the phone, right?
Yeah.
The other question I had on that real fast is when you say you're like reading something before a meeting or whatever and you are not finished, if you back out, can you go back in and be at the same page, or do you have to scroll all the way back?
It should, if you don't close the app, it should hold your place.
Okay,
When you
cool.
pop out of the app. So, yes.
Cool.
Other questions? Yes, in the back.
A lot of content for a low price. How are creators getting compensated?
Jim, would you like to field that question?
Maybe we can let our creators.
Oh, we should let our creators.
Very nicely. Go
We
ahead.
are being treated respectfully, and we've been given very good rates.
Yes, we are. They're very comparable to current rates, and if you've been watching the current conversations on Twitter and such that are involving creators and how they're being treated, this is better than the top 3 on certain lists that were on there. So I would say it's nice, it's respectable, and it's very, very appreciative of what they're getting out of us, pretty much. So
They're coming from a place of respect for the work
Yeah.
and the artistry that goes into it. And these aren't like Silicon Valley riggers.
No.
Everyone I work with in the Stela is very, very enthusiastic about comic books. They all love comic books. This isn't, it's coming from a good place.
Yeah.
It's not Rochambeau or anything like that. Pretty much we're, not only that, but we have so many opportunities to take our stories further once we've been with Stela as well. They're giving us a lot of freedom that a lot of other companies would not even dare to think of. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm a super supporter, and I will be fully betting and backing this until I'm blue in the face.
Yeah, on a basic to
Almost there. No,
on like a basic business level, right? Like the comic book industry is kind of a certain size right now, and we're seeing over the last couple of years more and more books and more titles being launched into this kind of same sized or slowly growing comic book market. And in many ways, it's each new book launch is one more slice of that pie that people are trying to bring away from it. And what we're hoping to do by making comics very accessible via the phone is go for a larger pie. I mean, there are 100 million, is that what it is? I think it's 100 million iPhones in use in the country, you know? So like that's, if we could even just take a small portion of that, that could be much larger than the current comic book market as it is right now. So if it keeps up like that, the goal being that everybody's gonna be getting paid really well to do books this year.
Also, we don't have to annoy you with our fabulous tweets about telling you to pre-order our book and go to previews and check out this form and print it and take it into your comic book retailer where you don't like to go in the first place and give it to that guy who's going to look at you weird and you're just going to be like, I really want this comic, and he's just going to be like, eh. This is kind of a freedom in a lot of ways, and I'm really appreciative of it because it's taking what already exists in certain other countries and it's bringing it forward. So we're catching up pretty much, and we're now playing the game, but we're playing it and we're playing it to win, and we're actually paying people for it, so yay!
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, all of the folks behind Stela, from the editorial staff down to me and PR, we've had a lot of experience in the comics industry. I've been in the industry for nigh on, I think, 7 years at this point, 7 or 8. Jim's been in it for about as long, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we've all been a part of the industry for a very long time, so we've seen firsthand sort of how creators are treated at certain publishers, and it's terrible. I wasn't going to say that, Jason.
The creator on the
Sign this
panel.
contract in blood!
We've certainly seen the worst that the industry can be, and we've seen the best that it can be, and we want to aspire to be the best, not just in our content, but also in how we treat people. You know, comics wouldn't exist without people like Jason and Tanika, you know, going to the drawing board or the writing board every single day and putting their heart and soul into these stories, and we would like to see compensation reflect that. So that's a big part of what it is that we want to do at Stela, and we invite, if you're a creator and you have a story that you want to tell, we would invite you to look us up and see what we're all about. Not right now, though, because we're not currently accepting any new questions.
We're gonna launch this out next week.
Also, I was going to say, we are available in Canada.
Yes.
It has already launched, and I did want to just.
For all the
put that
Canadians
out
in the
there.
room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
watching on Periscope.
For any of you who drove down from Vancouver, but no, I actually have quite a few Canadian friends who have already pushed towards the app, and they really enjoyed it, so.
So if you're interested in what we're doing, we would really encourage you on Thursday to look it up in the App Store. It'll be live that day. If you follow us on Twitter, we'll be tweeting a lot about it. Guarantee you. But yeah, any other questions?
If nobody else has one.
No, you got one.
Gentleman in the front,
Yeah.
he's got Jim's phone.
I really like this phone. This isn't nice.
Yes, that's true. So we don't have any current plans for Android. It is definitely in the pipeline, but we don't have a hard date for you yet. Nothing ready to show.
Android.
I also, even though I have an iPhone, I am a big fan of Android. I'm a big fan of what they do, and it's something that is certainly on our priority list. But right now we're optimized for iPhone.
Yeah.
But keep an eye out if you're interested in what we're doing. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on social media, and you hopefully will hear more about that soon.
We will as well. The app will be available for iPad, though it is optimized for iPhone.
Yes. So, yes, sir.
I'm an artist, and I look at your format. I like your format. It's readable. That's the most important thing. Okay, I didn't get a chance to go through your whole thing. How many? I mean, what is the size of these comics? How many channels do they normally?
Yeah.
So
Jason.
roughly a screen size is a quarter of a page. So if you're reading a regular comic book, one page would be equal to 4 screen sizes. And we're breaking it down to roughly 8 pages a chapter.
Yeah.
So almost like
So
a
it's
Marvel.
continuous then?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm confused. Okay, but-
No.
So yeah, so
Well,
we'll
it's
see.
a new format. We're here to answer your questions.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I'm confused. It's good.
But yeah, but no, it's kind of 8 pages.
He's
8
from
pages
East
of content.
Answers.
The reason why I'm asking that question is because how do you become a content provider?
Well, right now, I think we have like a basic contact on our website.
We do, yeah. If you go to
So-
Stela.com and contact us through there, that's the best way to get your email seen.
Right
Again,
now,
yeah.
our main priority is launching the app, so.
Right now we are not taking any new
You have
missions.
startup money to get this going, so obviously this is where your front end is right now, to get it out there. Yeah, and then you hire other people as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and plus you always need new content anyway. So
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
question.
Daily content, a lot of content.
Yeah.
More questions? Yes, in the back.
Question. So I'm seeing that, when I tried to with the phone, it didn't, change direction or anything. You guys have plans on having like kind of boxes that are more rectangles? Like-
So the way that we want the comics to be read is in that vertical. That's what the comics are designed for.
Okay.
Yeah, at the moment, that's the way that we're presenting the content, and we don't have any plans to go to a landscape
So
format.
the one thing I'll add to that though is because we're digital, we have like incredible versatility to change and adapt. When if we find all of our readers are really interested in seeing some landscape style storytelling, as far as functionality of the app goes, we can easily incorporate that. So initially, it goes back to that idea of ease and accessibility, where we want to make every comic kind of you jump in, you're just scrolling, it's simple. And then if we find people want some, more complicated aspects in the mix down the line, then we can look into those. But simplicity up front is the way we're going.
Yeah, I guess it's just when I'm reading like actual comments, I do appreciate every now and then when there's just like this really big page, like a full page.
Sure, and I think that you'll see some comparable functionality to the new format, because this is a new format for a lot of reasons. And
To counter that, for me, it takes me out of the story when I have to reposition my phone and go in and go out. And I'm not thinking about the story anymore. I'm thinking about the device. If I'm from a writing standpoint, you would hate when that happens. I want people to be in the story.
Panel sizes too, especially too. So if you have a set size, you can know what to plan it for instead of like an awkwardly shaped panel. So how do you for it?
Well, and some of what people are doing as well is stitching together screens in a sense. So you have one large screen you're scrolling down. So it's not quite the same thing as like a big splash page, but you can get like a larger storytelling beat that you scroll through by doing it that way. So
I kind of understand where she's coming from though, because you see, one of your stories where the people are fighting, and I don't know what's complicated, but that's what's going on. And the guy kicks the guy in, or the guy or girl, whatever. You have two images side by side. Okay? That's small, in my opinion. So, if you were to swing it around, you could actually use the phone design layout.
sure, no, and exactly. That's one of those things where it's like there are so many potential functionalities that we can do for storytelling within the app, but initially,
This is where you're coming from now.
step one, yeah,
Step
baby
one.
step.
step one is to make sure that we've
That's what
got
I'm
this
Yeah,
format down, and then if again, like Jim mentioned, if we find that people are looking for that more horizontal landscape format, that's something that we can look into. Yes, sir.
Are all the launch comics complete?
Yes, the launch comics are, and then we're wrapping up our second wave
Second phase.
of comics.
I don't have to worry about it.
And
So,
then
so yeah, anything that we put up onto the app, it'll be released chapter by chapter. So when you download the app on launch day, some of them will be in progress. However, all of the work on all of the stories that we launched has been completed.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is especially like, that's part of the reason we have 50 projects up and running, is so that at no point are you ever gonna have to, whatever, there's gonna be a Friday where nothing shows up on the app. Like, it'll be content every day, guaranteed.
Yeah, we're making a promise to you guys and to the readers out there that might be watching this on the internet, that we're gonna deliver new content to you guys every weekday. So $4.99 a month gets you a new chapter every single weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Lots of genres.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
These people have been working very tirelessly.
You guys been
I
working
know
hard, too.
because Jim goes through my script and edits it while editing simultaneously other comics.
And mine.
It's a lot of scripts a day.
Yeah.
Most people would never, if you don't draw and do the work yourself, you never appreciate how much work that is.
It's a lot.
I want you
Plus,
to read
if you're gonna do 8, 10 titles, 20 titles, 50 titles, I mean, that's,
Yes,
you'll be busy.
confirmed.
I know, I'm glad for my
Old and
artists.
great, just like me, overnight.
But we never want to have the apology like, sorry, we screwed up.
Yeah.
Another Wednesday. Our bad.
What's up?
So, we talked a lot about the format of the comics itself, which is really cool, but I haven't really heard anything about the community interaction tools that I think I saw on there, the ability to notate panels or those kinds of things. How
Yeah,
does
so,
people interact?
well, and we're kind of waiting for launch and for our audience to jump on the app and kind of see what we need from them. So initially, it's a very simple interface where there's a liking functionality and then a comment functionality. And then we'll kind of see what people like, see if people are using it, and go from there. So, but it's the same as with the storytelling sense. We can add anything to it, which is the nice thing. But right now, we kind of have it simplistic to start with, and then we'll see what people want to use and then go from there.
Are you guys, this is more on the technical side of the art, when it comes to formatting and templates and everything, a lot of the creators you rattled off, I know, work traditionally as well as digitally.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious if anybody is working traditionally on this, and if so, what kind of format are they using to keep that constant vertical going?
So my books are more traditional because I'm writing for an artist, so I can't draw it myself. I'm not splitting a panel to left or right. If I split a screen into two panels, it's the top and the bottom.
Okay.
I'm very aware there's limited real estate,
Okay.
right? So you can't put too much dialogue in, you can't do more than 4 characters, right? You want to keep it 3 or 2 shot or 1 shot. So that thinking does go into it because you don't want to look like microfilm. It's got to be vibrant, it's got to be alive, it's got to be contextual at a glance. So you can't overburden it.
Right.
Yeah. I would say we do have some people that are,
Yeah, sorry, we just got the little wrap-up noise.
Oh, okay.
Normally we give you an extended answer, but we do also have this lovely device that was promised to a lucky person. If you guys take those stickers that we gave you at the beginning, there will be a number on the back. Jim, would you please pick something from here and then give it to me?
I will.
Okay.
So you see how he stitched it together?
All right, so if you have number 2, you have number 2.
Okay.
All right, there you go. Thank you guys very much. Guys, if you have any more questions, we'd be happy to field them outside of the panel room, but unfortunately the next one's coming in, so we gotta get going. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.